You ever wonder where your management beliefs come from? I bet you it's a bunch of hand-me-down ideas that have been told to you by podcasters, by speakers at conferences, by books that you've read, by mentors you've had, by the structure of organizations themselves, by your peer groups, by your coaches. Everybody tells you how to manage the same way. And where do those ideas come from? Most Americans are surprised to know that the common way that we manage people today is not the way that we've always managed people. Actually, here in the United States, in Western management, there's been two different philosophies about management that have been going on for about 125, 130 years. These two ideas have been in contrast to each other. Now, the book that Douglas McGregor wrote, The Human Side of Enterprise, wildly impactful book in the 1960s that defines the two theories of American management. Theory X, that human beings dislike work, therefore we must use carrots and sticks to motivate them. They always want to be directed. They will not take accountability for their actions, and they don't want more responsibility, and they're not very creative. We have to be the thinkers. They have to be the doers. Theory Y, on the contrary, says that human beings love to work. They absolutely love working when it's been designed correctly and where they're challenged and things are easy to do and they can get a pride and accomplishment, a sense of accomplishment that comes out of it and obtain pride and joy. They want more responsibilities. They want you to pile things onto them because they enjoy doing this so much, and they're extremely creative problem solvers. Now, which of these philosophies do you think is dominant currently in Western management? I think we all know that it's the X theory. And where does the X theory really come from? Well, it says this: people dislike work. We've got to incentivize them. They're trying to avoid accountability. We've got to demand results from them, put goals upon them, demand their obedience to the rule of law in our organization. And we reward them through money, and we give them consequences through firing. PIPs, essentially. We get rid of people that aren't doing a good job in the X system of management. Now, this idea, 90% of what you believe about management, the philosophy that you have, everything that you think about on a daily basis, how you respond, how you react, how you treat customers, how you treat employees, 90% of that comes from four individuals. Four individuals dictate 90% of what you believe about management. Who are those four people? Well, they're Jack Welch, Peter Drucker, and the two probably most influential, particularly when it comes to compensation and hiring and HR and all of these kind of things, are Jensen and Meckland. If you're on Wall Street, you would know Jensen and Meckland more than even the guys probably at the top. Now, there's some interesting statistics about these gentlemen. Only one of them ever ran a business. One is a professor of philosophy, Peter Drucker, and two are economists, Jensen and Meckland. And 90% of what you believe about management comes from academics and their philosophical ideas on how to run a business. I wonder if that's why there's a commonly stated statistic that 70% of US businesses fail every 5 years. Isn't that interesting that the system that we use creates such incredible levels of failure, and yet we continue to do it and never question it at all? Now, the Y theory of management is different. It says that work's natural. People want to do it. If it's challenging and engaging and enjoyable, they always are looking to take on more because they have a very, very strong ownership in their work. And management isn't something we're dictating down. This is not heads to hands. This is collaborative, cooperative management where the people at the front lines are telling management what they need to accomplish the goals that they need to do, the things the organization does, and management is there really acting in servitude, providing the resources needed for those folks to accomplish that goal. Workers' needs are met, but pride and joy is the primary motivator of work. It's not how much do you make. When somebody asks, what do you do? People in a Y environment really start to talk about their impact, the impact they have and how proud they are of the impact they have on the world. Now, these ideas came from a different generation. Some of them were around in the early 20th century and were in opposition to what's called Taylorism, which is the basis of the X theory of management, what Drucker and Welch and those duplicated. But there's a number of other people we should know about. And if you've heard any of my talks, you know that W. Edwards Deming. I love this guy. He is my hero, and his impact on all of our lives, from cell phones to GPS to Wi-Fi to LTE to quantum computing, all of these things have their roots in the work of W. Edwards Deming and the work that he did around quality. We also have the Hawthorne Works, where Western Electric was the Silicon Valley of the 1920s and 30s here in the United States, where America really learned through the help of W. Edwards Deming on how to create quality, small-scale products that really birthed the electronics revolution here in this world. This other gentleman, Henry Kaiser, to show you an example of how Y theory of management worked with him. This is a man who built the Grand Coulee Dam and the Hoover Dam. He always did them early and under budget. That was his motto for construction projects. You always complete projects years early and for far less than estimated. Anybody of my friends in the construction industry are laughing right now because that's never happened pretty much since Henry Kaiser passed away. But was a really incredible construction magnate that built the shipyards in San Francisco and then went out using the Y theory of management. He went out and instead of blaming individual people for the problems that were happening at work, this is the same philosophy that Deming had, we always point our fingers at the system. What about the system is the problem? What stands in the way of the people? What is the pain point that is holding them back? Why are they restricted? What is unclear? What is standing in the road, stopping them from accomplishing the goals they want to? I can tell you in 25 years of consulting, I've probably spoken to in groups and individually, probably close to 100,000 people, employees. And I got to tell you that in all of the interactions I've had with people from Fortune 10 companies on down through garage tech startups, I've only ever found 3 people that didn't want to do a good job. Most people want to do a good job at work and they get blamed when they don't do a good job. But the system is the problem. The problem really, what Y theory exposed to us, is that the problem is not the people, it is the system. Deming himself, late in his career, said 94% of all of the problems that he saw working with all of the industries here in the United States, as well as in Japan and overseas, he said 94% of all problems were systems and process problems. They had nothing to do with the people, and we need to stop badgering the people and just improve the conditions, improve the system, improve the way the work works so that people can get more done. And Henry Kaiser did this. Henry Kaiser went out in taking over the shipyards in San Francisco. He hired 89,000 completely unskilled workers from all across this country. He recruited a lot of folks from the South to move out to San Francisco to work inside his shipyards. Only 2% of the people that came to work for Henry Kaiser had ever seen a ship before. As they were getting ready to move into the industry, these folks are taking a job to learn how to build big ocean liner ships to take and transport troops and materials into World War II. And he hires 89,000 of them sight unseen without even an interview. And he trains them and he focuses on ergonomics. He creates Kaiser Permanente, the first healthcare system. He has a cafeteria where he feeds people. He provides housing to his employees. He has to create preschool and nursery school. Because in the 1940s, as men are going off to war, who can you recruit? You can't recruit young men. You got to recruit women who are here at home taking care of their children. And if they have children at home and they can't go to work, you can't use them. So he creates all of these things to help his people. And without setting any goals whatsoever, the professional shipbuilders, the union shipbuilders around the world are building these ships. They're called the Liberty ship. They're building these cargo ships in 244 days. And the 89,000 completely unskilled workers, 2% of which had never seen a ship before, after going through the training program at Kaiser, at the shipyards, they produce one of these Liberty ships in 4 days, 15 and a half hours, 98% faster than the professional shipbuilders at the same level of quality. I want you to just think about that. The X theory of management, to the command and control theory of management, 244 days, 98% faster if you just actually care about the people and help the people in the process. See, what Kaiser understood is that people truly do want to work. They love work when it's engaging and it's exciting and it's motivating and they can engage their brain in the process and try to improve their own conditions. Because the truth of the matter is, both of these gentlemen and everybody that's been associated with Y theory knows this to be true. People don't do what they want to do at work. People do only what you allow them to do at work. They have no choice in the matter. You set the schedule, you provide the tools, you hire the people, you provide the incentives. You do it all. And then we point fingers at them because our system produces a bad result. Just think about that for a second. That's like your kid gets burned because of your negligence with your barbecue and you blame the kid. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but yet that's the philosophy of American management. I hope this makes a lot of sense. Think about the difference between XY theory in your organization. What do you use? Are you using X? Are you using Y? What is it? Is it X or Y theory for your business? I bet you for the most part, it's probably falling more on the X side. And maybe it shouldn't. What would happen if you began to go out to your people and talk to them and ask them what you could do to improve their conditions? Ask them to show you the bottlenecks in the work, the slowness that happens, the things that they despise doing because they're really difficult to do. And then what if you just tried to help them and provide resources? And let's just say that they got, I don't know, an extra 15 or 20% more work done with that. What would happen then? The same headcount, the same overhead, but more revenue and higher profits. I sort of think that Y theory might make sense. And that's what we teach here at The Process Fixer. The system, our methodology is based upon Y theory. We understand there's some places in X theory that actually do make some sense. So we bring some X theory in as well. But our theory is 90% Y theory. How do we help the people doing the work to do more work to make the organization more profitable? It's a pretty simple equation. This isn't about top line sales. This is about bottom line. It's about doing the same amount of revenue with more money in your pocket. I'm Derek Maines, The Process Fixer. I hope you enjoyed this. Check it out, X and Y theory. Read about this a little bit. Even check out that book by McGregor. It's really fascinating. Or check out some of my other talks because I'm always talking about X and Y theory. Even when I don't say it, you'll find it in just about everything that I do.